For strength day A for cycle 68, we are starting with a heels elevated narrow stance squat. So this is also considered a cyclist squat because the heels are elevated and we're standing closer together. Now, if you do not have a plate or those orange sort of carrot stick like pieces of equipment in order to elevate the heels, in a previous video we talked about how you can take a kettlebell and flip it over. Typically something less than the 16 because then the handle will rest on the floor. You can have them elevate their heels by standing on the handle of a kettlebell as needed, okay? So you're gonna have them stand over top of their bell. We're gonna two-hand clean with nice snappy hips, stepping back to then elevate the heels, either on the full plate or you could do two small plates. It's gonna be a tempo squat, so we want to create that tension, do a 2-second lower, 2-second hold at the bottom, 2-second come tall, okay? If people feel like they need more of a challenge, you can give them a slightly longer tempo, but the 2 seconds is just ensuring that they're not speeding through it, and we are forcing them to have that hold at the bottom. For this type of squat where the heels are elevated, it can help with some individuals that have knee pain if the knee pain is related to a restricted ankle. If it's not due to a restricted ankle, sometimes people will feel this more in their knees because it is a more quad dominant movement. Just have them come off the plate or have them do more of your standard stance where your hip width are a little outside, right? So narrow, we're not making them go all the way feet together, okay? But you wanna be inside of hips. If they wanna try that full touching narrow base stance squat, you can do that. Just make sure you're tying that into, that would be something that you would start with if you're working towards a pistol, right? So that piece of education that helps get some buy-in as to why we would ever go that close together. This is going to be a 15-minute work block. That's something I should have said at the beginning. So it is an AMRAP, so they're gonna cycle through this at their own pace. From the heel elevated, we're going into a half kneel for an overhead press. So for that half kneel, I always show people how to cheek clean the bell. So you're gonna find your half kneel. We wanna press on the same side as the leg that's down because you can squeeze the glute to find that stability, the same way you squeeze your glutes when you're doing a standing overhead press. So my left leg is down, so my left hand is gonna be the main hand on the kettlebell. So that bell, or that hand is gonna grip the bell first, right hand is gonna come in to help, hike it back. Both hands bring the bell into that rack position, that's your cheek clean, and then this hand moves away. From here, making sure that rib cage stays packed down, hips stay square. We exhale, drive tall, inhale down, exhale, drive. Make sure that their back foot is tucked, not flat on the ground, because this is gonna help them find more stability in their hip as they hit that press. I will tell people to go at least a bell down from their strict press bell. Because it is, I believe, 6 to 8 reps, so we're a little higher on the reps, you may instruct them to go 2 bells down from their strict press bell. From that half kneeling press, we're going into an eccentric dumbbell glute bridge. So for that, they're gonna find their dumbbell. This is gonna go on their hips, planted, making sure we do have some of that abdominal raise and that they're driving through the glutes. You can ensure that by having them raise their toes so that they're driving into the heels. So you're gonna come tall, and then eccentric, meaning that that lower is slow and controlled. So I would have them do a 3 to 5 second lower, drive tall, 3 to 5 second lower. We can even go into single leg here as individuals want more of a challenge, but still emphasizing that. From there, we're gonna go into a goblet hold, split squat with a rotation. So because we are rotating through the trunk in a loaded position, I really want you to emphasize that you want to think about a rod coming down through the top of the head, through the spine, and we're doing a pure rotation around that rod. The one thing we don't want to see is a rotation and a side bend, because that can make the low back angry because it's loading the facet joints in the lumbar spine. So for this, they're going to find their bell, 2 hand clean tall, finding that split squat, so it's that stagger stance, letting them know that the depth is up to them, so you can come here or deeper, rotate towards that front leg, drive tall, split squat down, pure rotation, drive tall. If they need to put the bell down between sides, they can do so, or they can go right into the opposite side, drop down, rotating that opposite direction. If anybody has any issues in the low back with the rotation, you can either take the rotation out or have them drop their weight down. And again, make sure that they are not side bending as they rotate. You want a pure rotation, and they might just need to adjust the range that they're trying to shoot for, okay? The last exercise in this 15-minute work block is going to be a banded squat jump with an in and out. So we're going to take that band just below the knees. So we're going to do our squat jump, land, in, out, jump, in, out, okay? Cueing that absorption into the ground. We don't want them to land firm, and we want them to try to stay in that squat stance as they come in, out. If somebody is not a jumper, what you can have them do is you can still work on the in and out and just have them do squat, triple extension, so I'm coming up on toes, and then I'm going out, out, in, squat, triple extension, out, out, in. So they can still find that athletic stance for that in and out lateral movement, but they don't have to have the impact of the jump, okay? I know this seems like a lot of things, but in reality, you only need a dumbbell for the glute bridge, the kettlebell for the rotation, as well as the half kneeling press should be the same, which means that your goblet squat kettlebell could also be the same or one heavier. So you might need 2 kettlebells, a dumbbell, and a band. And as we get into the next work set on strength day A, I'm going to tell you which of those pieces of equipment can also be used for the next work set, okay? So it might look like a lot, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a lot, as long as we're instructing our members what weight is actually going to be ideal, okay? So for example, that half kneeling press, getting a weight that is a bell or 2 down from their typical strict press, that bell is also going to be appropriate for the rotation because of the weight, right? We don't want to go super, super heavy with that because of the rotation. So making sure to make those correlations for them so that we don't end up with 18,000 bells out. For the second work set on strength day A, we're going to be doing a 30 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest ratio. It's going to end up being a total of 12 minutes here. We have 3 different movements, 2 of which are done on a left-right side. So they'll end up working for a minute, resting for 30, working for a minute, rest for 30, and then that final movement is a central goblet clean. So that's going to be the 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, okay? For this piece, in regards to equipment, the first exercise is going to be a little bit of that functional kettlebell style movement. So the kettlebell to be used for this traveling clean with a stepping press is going to be similar to your half kneel kettlebell, okay? So we don't need to pull out more equipment for this if that's a concern that you have. You may need to grab a different size dumbbell for the single arm pullover, because this is likely going to need to be something lighter than their glute bridge eccentric they did in work set 1. And then the B stance goblet clean, they should be able to use a similar bell to what they used in in the goblet squat, okay? So again, 2 kettlebells from the same weight as the first work set most commonly, unless people are trying to go heavier. And then you still would have one dumbbell. So this dumbbell will be lighter. So if you're someone who likes to pull all of your equipment out at the beginning of class, you need a heavier kettlebell, a lighter kettlebell, a heavier dumbbell, a lighter dumbbell, and a loop for the banded squat jump. Okay? If you are somebody like myself, I transition weights between the work sets just so members have more space, because I teach at Northern Liberties and we don't have a lot of space. So that's how that equipment breaks down. If you still have questions about how to improve the flow of equipment within your space, please let us know, and we'll make sure a lead who primarily teaches at your studio location coordinates with you to help streamline that process. Okay, so work set 2. Like I said, we're doing a 30-second on, 30-second off, but those first 2 movements, because it's a left-right, it's a minute and then 30 seconds, a minute and then 30 seconds. Your timer will have all of that. So this first piece is gonna be a traveling clean with a stepping press. So for the traveling clean and a stepping press, I'm going to do it without the kettlebell first in slow motion so you can see where my feet are going. So what's gonna happen is they're going to square stance, clean their belt into the rack. Now we start the traveling clean part. So what's gonna happen is my bell's on the right side. As I hit my backswing, my left foot's gonna step forward. I'm then gonna find my clean and my feet go square. I then step forward on the same side leg to hit the press. Step back into your rack, backswing, take it down. Or back into the rack, step forward as you clean in the backswing, finding that clean, I'm square, step forward, same side leg as I hit my press, right? So if you have the space to have them travel, they can continue through that process. So in real time with a kettlebell, and again, this is one where we are not using their standard press bell because there's a more dynamic component to it. So if somebody is trying to grab the same bell that they would do 5 presses with, they are likely going too heavy unless this is something that they've done multiple times before. Odds are they have not, so have them go a bell down, okay? We wanna always prioritize the quality of form before we try and have people go heavy, right? Build that foundation before you focus on strength. So they're going to clean the bell as we typically would from our hard style lens. As I hit my backswing, I'm stepping forward, I'm coming square, stepping and press. I square off as I come back into that rack position. If I'm going back into my traveling clean, stepping forward, square off to rack, step forward, square, bring it back, okay? They will have 30 seconds. If you don't have enough space, once they hit that rack, they can walk it backwards and then start it right back over, okay? Please make sure that you play around with this motion. It's probably one that we'll have you all play around with at our meeting, but if you are not at the meeting, please play around with this motion before you go to demo it in class. It's not a complicated movement, but if you're trying to explain it and also demo it for the first time, things can get a little messed up, okay? So make sure that you are practicing this before you go to demo for your class. They'll go right side for 30 seconds, left side for 30 seconds, and then they will rest. The next exercise is also gonna be a left-right exercise, which is going to be a single dumbbell pullover, so single arm, and we're gonna go foot elevated. So what's gonna happen is my dumbbells in my right arm, so my left leg is gonna be the one that's pinched on the ground, so we have that cross body stability. So I'm going to lift my hips up, straighten my arm, raise the same side leg up. I'm taking this over to tap to the ground, exhale, come back, right? Making sure that I'm keeping this brace and keeping my hips high as I hit that pullover, okay? If people are having a hard time with the single arm, you can have them grab the dumbbell end to end, and it can be both arms overhead for that pullover, and then when they switch to the opposite side, they're just switching legs, okay? If that's too challenging for individuals, you can have them put both feet down so the hips stay square, and they can work on their standard pullover. Again, they're gonna do one side and then the other, so 30 seconds and 30 seconds, and then they'll have 30 seconds of rest. The next exercise is going to be a B stance goblet clean. So we're working on that vertical pull, that vertical ballistic, but we're having a slight stagger so that we're biasing one leg over the other. So they're gonna come over top of that bell. Sorry, my pants are falling down. So same way we would do our stagger stance deadlift, if I start square, I'm just gonna pop this foot back so that it's stable. Now notice that I'm still on parallel train tracks, I'm not tight roping, but we also don't want them way back here. It's not a lunge, it's just a staggered stance so that I can still load into this front leg. So we're here, 2 hands on the bell, exhale, drive. Take it down, exhale, drive. Because this is a 30-second timer and we're only doing it once, at the halfway beat, they're going to switch the leg that's forward. Okay? So if you saw the glitch when I was explaining the B stance, I was thinking about how many rounds. So what you could do if you wanted is for that goblet clean, instead of having them switch halfway all 3 rounds, because I wasn't sure if it's 3 rounds or 4 rounds, but because it's 12 minutes and the way it works out, it ends up being 3 rounds through. So minute 1, you could have them do all with that right leg forward, or the first round, first round you could have them do with the right leg forward, second round could be all left leg forward, the third round you can have them switch halfway, or you can have them switch halfway for all 3 rounds. For the final work set, on Strength Day A, it's going to be a coach's choice, and it's going to be a little bit similar to what we do in circuit, in the circuit portion of Momentum Day A. My coffee was not good this morning. So for that, it's gonna be your coach's choice. You're gonna have 3 different exercises, so have fun with this. 45 seconds on with a 15-second transition, okay? Have fun. If you have questions, let us know. Please, again, review some of the functional kettlebell movements ahead of teaching your class.